Okay, we'll start with the most basic part of the service and changing the spark plug. The spark plug is found at the top of the cylinder head. On a two-stroke you'll probably find it'll be right at the top there, but it'll just be underneath your plug cap, which will be silver like this one, which I'll be replacing for reasons I'll explain later, or under a red plastic one, usually stamped NGK or something similar. These just pull straight off, reveal the plug underneath, the white porcelain and your little nut at the bottom. You'll need a plug spanner, which will look something like this, and then maybe an extension bar and a wrench, a breaker bar, a ratchet, something like. If you've got a toolkit with your bike, you'll have received a box spanner which looks something like this. Cheap unit, perfectly acceptable for use if you don't have the right tool. I'll be using this just to demonstrate. So you place that over the hexagon of the nut using a spanner, screwdriver rather. Pop that through there, and just until that opens, it should then thread out by hand. And do that right the way out. And then you can lift the plug out. Now you can inspect the plug and look at the colour that it's burning to see if it's too lean, too rich, or just about right. If the plug looks good, you can clean it and replace it, or you can pop a new one in. You need to check the gap with a feeler gauge first. Make sure it's the correct gap in between your electrodes there. If you need to clean it and replace it, give it a good wire brushing, good blow around the electrode to make sure there's no bits of grit or rubbish, and then place it back in. Initially, dab of copper grease on the thread and screw it in by hand, just until it butts out at the bottom, until it's tight. Once you can't screw it in by hand any further, pop the spanner back on, that back on, and just nip it up until it's tight. That's all you need.